In this video, we want to evaluate the difference quotient for the function f of x equals x squared minus 6x. So let's take a look at the first part of the difference quotient, f of x plus h. Now remember, if we just look at a simpler function notation problem, something like maybe f of 8, and think about what this is telling us. F of 8 is saying we want to input 8 for x. So in other words, we want to substitute x equals 8 in for every x in the function. So the first part of the difference quotient is asking you to find f of x plus h. That means you're taking x plus h and substituting it into each part of the function where you see an x. So we are just doing basically substitution. So f of x plus h will end up being the quantity x plus h squared minus 6 times the quantity x plus h. Then we subtract, and the next part that we're subtracting, it says we're subtracting f of x, which is just the original function, x squared minus 6x. However, this has two terms, so it's really important that we remember to subtract the entire function, the entire quantity. So these parentheses here are extremely important. We're subtracting the whole quantity, x squared minus 6x, and then we're dividing this by h. Now the rest of this is just some algebraic simplification. We're going to multiply x plus h times x plus h. Then we'll distribute the negative 6. And then we will also distribute this negative. So treating that like a negative 1, we'll have a negative x squared and a positive 6x. All divided by h. So let's continue with our algebra, multiplying out x plus h times x plus h. Remember, we'll distribute x times x will be x squared, x times h will be xh, and then we'll continue distributing. Some of you call this foiling, and we'll distribute this negative 6 as well. So we'll have x squared plus 2xh when we combine like terms, plus h squared minus 6x minus 6h, and then minus x squared plus 6x, all divided by h. Now we want to continue combining like terms in the numerator. So the x squareds will subtract out. Negative 6x plus 6x equals 0. That subtracts out as well. And we're left with 2xh plus h squared minus 6h, all divided by h. Now notice right now there are 3 terms here in the numerator, and they all have an h. So there's a greatest common factor in the numerator, a GCF of h. So we'll factor out an h from all 3 terms. And by factoring out the h, now we have multiplication in the numerator, which allows us to divide out the h in the denominator. H divided by h will equal 1. So we are left with the expression 2x plus h minus 6, which will be our final answer if we're asked to evaluate the difference quotient for this function.